through the principles that lead to the attainment of prosperity, pointing out that for socio-economic transformation to be achieved, a new mindset has to be inculcated in society to create a new person that will move away from subsistence to commercial calculated agriculture.
You must have a new society. You cannot have a peasant producing another peasant. Omukorera kida kyonka n'alamira omukorera kida omulala.
The Minister of Education and Sports, also First Lady, Mrs. Janet Museveni, pointed out that head teachers as managers of education system in the country play a crucial role in the sector. She said it was extremely necessary to equip them with knowledge, skills and tools that will enable them contribute positively in the development of the nation. She, however, empowered head teachers to become visionaries with a clear purpose to act as role models for their teachers as well as students.
But some of our head teachers that I know and you know, instead take what has been entrusted to them for their schools, for their children, and take it and use it for personal benefit.
Mrs. Museveni warned that the family of such a person will not benefit from illegal gotten resources, adding that a curse will be introduced in such a family.
And when you do that, you will not be blessed. And your family is not going to benefit from that resource, whatever it is. In fact, people who do those things, they introduce a curse in their families.
The commandant of Nile, Brigadier General Charles Magambo, said the institute is on a move to train a mass of knowledgeable and visionary leaders.
Besides this course, there is another one of senior military, police and prisons officers ongoing. The course commenced on 4th December 2022 and ends 3rd February 2023.
The organizer of the training, who is also the personal assistant to the President on Youth Affairs, Mrs. Helen Seku, described the training as a shaping of people who will perceive right from wrong.
The teaching and non-teaching staff, including the students, to ensure that they take the right direction in community. With that in mind, sir, it is incumbent that all head teachers of both government and private schools.
She said similar training has already taken place in other regions of Lango, Acholi and West Nile. Joseph Oko, UBC.
Now, in other activities of the week, Uganda this week declared Ebola virus disease free by Ministry of Health and World Health Organization. This was at an event held in Mubende, the epicenter of the September outbreak that led to partial lockdown of Mubende and neighboring Kasanda district. The declaration follows an end of a 42-day monitoring period that saw no new cases registered.
It is a good start to the year 2023 for the Republic of Uganda.
God is good. And all the time,
the country is now free from the Ebola epidemic after a period of more than 100 days.
Having spent 2 incubation cycles of 21 days each, making a total of 42 days, yesterday, the 10th of January 2023, since the discharge of the last confirmed case on the 30th November 2022, having registered no new Ebola case, despite sustained intense surveillance, both at the epicenter districts and nationally. I now confirm that all transmission chains have been fully interrupted.
The declaration of an Ebola-free Uganda was done at Mayor's Garden in Mubende Municipality.
And take this opportunity to declare that the outbreak is over and Uganda is now free of active Ebola transmission. For God and my country.
No sooner had this declaration been made than other stakeholders joined in congratulating Uganda.
The U.S. government commends the Ministry of Health under the leadership of Minister Chang for steering the response with confidence and expertise.
For me, one of the lessons of why Uganda has done so well is because of the strength of its local leadership. It's the strength of its local capacity and the people at local level.
This success results from joint efforts in the fight against the epidemic. World Health Organization is one of those that have been at the forefront.
And the global health community will learn and follow Uganda so that Ebola is not as scary, Ebola is not as devastating as we used to know it.
Even when the cause of the recent Ebola outbreak is not clearly known, some leads point to consumption of bushmeat.
The source of this outbreak, like many others, is still not known. My ministry, working with local and international partners, continue to look for the most possible and proximal source of the current outbreak.
Where I come from in Cameroon, we're very fond of what we call bushmeat. I don't know if that's the case here, but if it is the case here, there might be need for us to make more efforts to try and make sure that we separate ourselves a little bit more from the wild. It is a source of risk, and while we're celebrating now, this could have all gone horribly wrong.
These are some of the reasons why more effort is still needed to manage and prevent future pandemics and epidemics.
These effects are possible to control early if we work together with purpose and under the guidance of the government's one plan.
We continue to call upon the public that when science dictates, we listen. We may have sentiments, we may have propaganda, but we need to trust science because science cannot be manipulated.
The era of Ebola in 2022 saw 22 probable cases reported, 143 patients confirmed, 55 deaths, and 87 recoveries in Uganda. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Following a series of fatal road accidents that have occurred in the country in the recent past, Prime Minister Nabanja this week called an inter-ministerial meeting to review and get a way forward to reduce road carnage. The meeting took place at the office of the Prime Minister in Kampala.
Overspeeding, indiscipline on the road, and the border menace are some of the contributing factors that have been identified to cause fatal accidents. A meeting called by Prime Minister Robina Nabanja noted that as the year 2022 came to a close, a number of accidents occurred, leaving scores of people injured or dead. The Prime Minister said the issue of the border menace must be addressed firmly and decisively.
What is it that we must do? What is it that we have done that has caused all this? What is it? I believe all of you are asking yourselves that question. Is it the designs of our roads? Are our people careless that we need to train them? The other day I was on TV and I saw Nigeria destroying borders. Yes. Are we supposed to also do the same? Because 90% of the accidents, 90% of the accidents are due to border. Should we disband borders in the city? What is it that we must do? What is it that we have done wrong that must be done now?
She said the traffic menace and security concerns caused by borders in the Central Business District will be discussed at a higher level in order to inform decision making. The meeting resolved that recommendations of the report of the Road Safety Performance Review Uganda be implemented as a matter of urgency.
The earlier we stopped this menace of borders in major cities, the better. This is me. We should save enough is enough. Let people walk but remain alive.
Yes.
If you go to Mulago, have you people taken trouble? Police,
yes.
Have you taken trouble to go to Mulago?
Orthopedic ward.
And go to the orthopedic ward and see how many people are hanging up there?
Our drivers.
We have to be leaders for once and say, no. Yes, our people want to survive, but we don't want them to die when we are just watching like this. So can we come up with a policy? I implore all of you and encourage you to go and meet those 4 areas in Mulago. 1, the casualty ward. Make sure you are there for an hour. 1 hour is enough.
No.
For you to make 1 hour.
No,
30 minutes are few. You cannot get the picture. Just 1 hour. After there, you ask those people to take you to the theater where they operate these people. After there, they take you to the casualty ward, to orthopedic ward. There are 4. Then you will come back here and make a better decision.
General Katumba Wamala, the Minister for Works and Transport, said his ministry will reintroduce testing of vehicles as soon as negotiations with SGS are concluded.
Now, our investigations narrow on about 3 or 4 major things. 1, reckless driving. Our drivers are recklessly using the roads, and this is a fact. Even many people have written about these road crashes in papers, in Monitor, in New Vision. They have raised this as an issue. Reckless driving. Drink driving. Drinking, sometimes you find these people are not only high on alcohol, some are high on other things, on drugs. Yes. Overspeeding. That's a very big factor, overspeeding. Indiscipline on the road. This actually is not only with the preserve of the general public, but even high government officials indiscipline on the road. So these, and of course, some of the DMC vehicles. Borders, of course, that's a menace. We must agree on how we are, as a nation, how we are going to handle the issue of borders.
The meeting also resolved that an effective emergency response system to handle accidents victims must be developed. The meeting was attended by a cross-section of line ministers and technical officers.
Police at Chikorongo in Kasese district this week arrested 3 suspected ADF remnants with improvised explosive devices. These arrested were on their way to Congo. The police spokesperson Fred Enanga urged people in the area to be vigilant and contact security for any suspicious element in their community.
These suspected Allied Democratic Forces remnants arrested include 2 juveniles, Musana Hussein, 22 years, Ashraf Murshid, 12 years old, from Busoli Bonda in Mayuge district, and another one is Kambale Bondwe, 14 years, a Congolese national.
They must have been recruited from Mayuge and had a cell in Kasese and were planning to cross over to the DRC. The other one, the 3rd suspect, also a juvenile, is called Kambale Bondwe, a 14-year-old Congolese who was also arrested.
These were caught with assorted catches used in criminal activities, which include improvised explosive devices, among others.
Our police at Chikorongo intercepted these 3 ADF who were carrying IEDs. They had a laptop and mobile phones and were planning to cross over to the DRC from Kasese.
Police have also given an update on the investigations into the tragic incident happened at Freedom City during the New Year's Eve concert. The death toll has reached 11 according to police.
Obtained several statements from credible witnesses and from proprietors of the venue, other organizers of the event, private security guards, police officers, parents of the victims also gave us statements, and survivors to the incidents. We also retrieved CCTV footages and documents.
The information gathered by police pins the event organizer Abe Musinguzi, aka Abitex Promotions. Police through DPP seek to amend the charge sheet of Abe Musinguzi to include more charges.
Sheets on Abe Musinguzi and the others who are going to, whom we expect sanctions against after the DPP's guidance, going to be charged with 11 counts of causing death, contrary to Section 227 of the Penal Code Act, and an additional 8 counts of causing other rash and negligent acts that led to injuries, contrary to Section 229 of the Penal Code Act.
Police have exonerated the facility proprietor, John Sebalamu, after assessing the contract between Sebalamu and Abitex.
A statement from Mr. John Sebalamu, the proprietor of Freedom City Hall, and he also gave us an agreement which he made between Freedom City and Abitex with very clear terms and conditions. The clause number 5, the organizers, under the terms, the organizers were tasked to provide as a must adequate security and crowd control.
In other development, police in Kitintali have arrested one of Biliabalema James of Bina over aggravated defilement. Biliabalema defiled his daughters, aged 17 and another one of 15 years respectively.
We managed to arrest the biological father, and the victims were also medically examined and found to have been defiled by their father for several years. When we arrested the father, we examined and found him to be very normal. So in doing this, he knew that actually he was defiling his daughters.
In Renzol West, police in Fort Portal are holding 16 coordinators of empowered consumerism operating under Dream Visionary Africa for defrauding younger adults, promising them jobs abroad. Abdul Nasir Lubwama, UBC News.
War veterans were this week asked to embrace government programs like Emyoga, Parish Development Model, among others, that aim at improving their livelihoods. This was communicated by the State Minister for Veteran Affairs, Ahudu Oleru, during a meeting with veterans in Tiruhura District.
Over 100 veterans in Tiruhura District have met with the State Minister for Veteran Affairs, Huda Oleru, in a meeting held at Tiruhura District Headquarters in Tiruhura District. During the meeting, veterans raised concern over some issues affecting them, among others, the long process one has to go through to receive pension and other funds.
Kubanga abamu bafuna emitwalo 2 nosanga muntu kwa account ezimutwala emitwalo 3 nagenda kwa account naje emitwalo 2.
Myaka 8 sifuna 10 abana bange batula tebasoma sina nyumba mulema bakugameka olumu ebyuma.
Now when it comes to taking them to Somalia, it becomes very difficult. But when it comes to guarding local defense purpose, they are capable. Here you can pick good pistols, good diesels.
Other challenges include lack of enough funds to invest in some of their projects aimed at boosting their livelihoods and not being recognized in the public as those who fought for the peace this country is enjoying.
Omusirikale bwana arwara ono yava mu maje bamuteke mu ndwalire rirungi bwana afa bamujjeyo baje bamuziike bulungi.
Most veterans, Honorable Minister, never received their pensions, and whoever received was less, and some not even getting their gratuity.
Wilson Kajuenge, Member of Parliament in Nyabushozi in Tiruhura District, used this platform and requested for an increment in the funds given to veterans.
They suffered injury on their bodies. They are maimed, they are one-legged. Government needs to consider them, those who retired earlier, to also be considered and be given a substantial amount of package.
However, State Minister for Veteran Affairs, Huda Oleru, pledged to address their challenges, saying some solutions are in the pipeline.
They should not lose hope. They must be proud
that the peace, the security this country is enjoying today is their sweat, is their blood.
Minister Huda also highlighted on the ongoing process of amending the UPDF Act to include issues concerning wetlands.
We already tabled the principles to Cabinet. The Cabinet has approved them and has given us a way forward to move with the bill. We are looking at their disability compensation. We are looking at medical and referrals under medical, at their pension and gratuity.
Veterans were asked to embrace government programs aiming at improving their livelihoods.
Nchokurebera hariho program yo kuhinga ebinyasi byente no kuhinga ebyokurya by'abantu. Ejo program kwerije mwena muzo mu district sako. District sako neja kubineza sako zanyu ziri uko mbyaro imuri emukutura.
Getting out of the uniform does not mean that you are now irrelevant. You are in fact more important because all the skills that were impacted on you when you are UPDF, now change them to change your village and to change the community where you come from.
The State Ministers meeting with the veterans in Kiruhura district came at a time when National Resistance Movement awaits to celebrate Terehe Sita Day. That will be held in Greater Mbarara come 6th February 2023. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
In more updates, the Forum for Democratic Change this week launched investigation into a handwritten note purportedly written by General Salim Saleh to FDC Party's Vice President, who is also Kampala's Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago. The deputy spokesperson, John Chikonyogo, says the party would formally reach out to Saleh to ascertain the authenticity of the note.
The airwaves, the media has been pervaded by a cheat, and then there's a sequel, another cheat which followed the other one, purported from General Saleh, talking of withdrawing support to our deputy president, Lord Mayor Lukwago. At first, we had left it to let Mr. Lukwago to handle it because we knew he had the capacity to handle it himself alone. But we are duty bound as a party to defend our leaders. And if they are in the wrong, we are duty bound to bring them back in the line. We are going to use all means at our disposal to get a response from General Saleh as a person. Was he the author of these cheats? Or someone else is using his name? If he's using his name, why has he taken too long to answer to this? We cannot allow it to pervade the air for long because people may believe it and it has an impact on the leadership of our party.
Parliament this week expressed dissatisfaction with the underfunding of the Ministry of Information, Communication, Technology and National Guidance, saying it hinders service delivery. The Minister of State for National Guidance, Godfrey Kabyanga, led the ministry. Heads of departments and agencies to Parliament during a presentation of the National Budget Framework paper for the next financial year 2023-2024.
The Information, Communication and Technology sector was pointed out among the key priority areas to drive economic transformation as an enabler of other primary industries like agriculture, among others. Even in the recent drive to increase production at parish level, the parish development model information system was developed to profile different households before funds are released to the parishes. However, such efforts under the ICT sector are likely to face huge breakdown resulting from low funding.
And yet we are government communicators, but we are communicators now without any funding.
The Minister of State for National Guidance, Godfrey Kabyanga, and officials representing line agencies under Minister of Information, Communication, Technology and National Guidance met with the Parliamentary Committee on ICT and National Guidance to familiarize with the National Budget Framework paper for financial year 2023-2024. Underfunding topped the discussion to account for the low performance by different sectors.
And if it wasn't for the fact that I have lived long in government and so I have some networks, even the little voice, the little you see at the media center wouldn't be there. And because the people who manage finances, both in the ministry and Ministry of Finance, it seems to me communication is not their priority.
The MPs questioned why Ministry of Finance has continued to delay in fulfilling some of its promises, which have since failed in service delivery.
I think one of these days we shall join efforts and we go there in the Ministry of Finance. You know, this work is not for the ministers alone.
Irene Kagwa, the Executive Director of Uganda Communications Commission, told members of Parliament that the geographic coverage of 4G network in Uganda stands at only 11% and 37% of the population coverage.
Now, it's also important for us as a committee or as a sector to recognize that coverage does not translate into usage.
The MPs were also concerned why the national broadcaster, which is Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, is not facilitated to fully operate its mandate, which has left many Ugandans digging deep from their pockets to access broadcasting services from private providers.
To us, we get the feeling that maybe UBC is not a priority to government.
UBC is one of the most important agencies in the government because it is the one which communicates.
The Managing Director of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, Winston Agaba, shared with the MPs the history of UBC and how dates have since failed the national broadcaster.
Now, when the idea was mooted that UBC could run on the same platform like the other national broadcasters that were benchmarked, they said, okay, fine. People did not address the bigger question. How is this newborn baby supposed to survive? There is no other better person than him hearing this story because he was my board chairman. He recruited me. He knows the actual pain that we have suffered all these years.
MD Agaba has tasked government to consider facilitating the already existing digital terrestrial transmission sites DTTS in order to ensure up to 70% coverage of free-to-air services across the country. Agaba says the public can be saved from overstretching to pay private television service providers if government considers facilitating the 18 DTT sites which were put up by government to enhance free-to-air TV services in the country.
Right now, the majority of people are all on the pay TV platform. So we are donating money to MultiChoice, to GoTV, to StarTimes, to Zook, to all these platforms that are charging us money.
The MPs have agreed to hold a separate engagement with the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development and the Minister of ICT and National Guidance to have a harmonized approach to the challenges affecting the ICT sector. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
The Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, Betty Amongi, this week quashed allegations of soliciting a total of 6 billion Uganda shillings as a requirement for renewal of the contract for Richard Byarugaba as the Managing Director for NSSF. According to Amongi, the said 6 billion Uganda shillings is part of the 220 billion Uganda shillings budget she approved in her capacity as the Line Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development and NSSF's operations that include increasing compliance and coverage for the fund.
For the last few months, NSSF has been in the news for both good and bad reasons, with one of them being the minister's refusal to renew Richard Byarugaba's contract as the body's managing director upon clocking the mandatory retirement age. There are reports that attribute the feud between the minister and Richard Byarugaba to the 6 billion shilling deal that failed to materialize. Describing this as misinformation, the Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, Betty Amongi, admits that the 6 billion shilling is in the NSSF 2022-2023 budget, earmarked for activities aimed at propelling compliance and coverage of the savings sector.
Under that overall budget, I approved 220 billion for operations. Out of the 220 billion for operations, I indicated that allocate 6 billion for activities to drive the implementation of the new law with the target of expanding coverage and ensuring compliance.
Also clarified is on who is responsible for the 6 billion shillings, emphasizing that the ministry will only provide oversight and support the fund in the implementation of the said activities.
Implementation is going to be by NSSF, involving all the stakeholders, because mobilization of employers and employees is a mandate that is for NSSF and Department of Labor of the Ministry of Gender, because the Employment Act stipulates that the labor officers can go in any workplace and enforce any rights of workers, including enforcing the fact that you must contribute and remit NSSF contribution for your employee as an employer.
It is worth noting that last year, President Yoweri Museveni okayed the amendment of the NSSF Act with anticipation that it will, among others, streamline the labour sector and improve Uganda's saving culture.
The new law is also bringing on board informal sector, and according to Uganda Investment Authority and Uganda Bureau of Statistics, 75% of the total employers are in the informal sector. So this new law is to mobilize 75% of those in the informal sectors to contribute. This requires conducting registration.
In the same vein, Ugandans have been encouraged to embrace the culture of saving for retirement. The Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Matia Kasaija, says government plans to shift borrowing from international organizations to homegrown bodies like NSSF.
We can't force you, but we need to save money. Save money for your retirement. Haven't you seen some people, when they retire from government or whatever, you find them very miserable. Their shoes are like this. Huh? Haven't you seen them? Yeah. Where do you live? Do you live in Mars?
According to available statistics, the labour sector has over 15 million workers, and only 1.3 million are saving with National Social Security Fund. Dorcas Kimono, UBC TV News.
Epidemiologists and public health experts this week warned Ugandans against laxity in taking up COVID-19 vaccination, are saying that the threat is still with us. Ministry of Health statistics show that currently the country records 70 to 75 cases of COVID-19 patients monthly.
Mid last year, the Ministry of Health scaled down mass vaccination for COVID-19 as cases went down. At the moment, the vaccines are placed at health centers and public hospitals across the country. However, the response from the public taking up vaccination has declined tremendously.
From the current record, we don't see any heightened number of people taking up vaccines. There are fewer, and the majority of the people are now vaccinating those children who are just becoming 18, or those who are going for travel or going for school, people going abroad, and the people who are frequently now coming for vaccines. The general population, the people coming currently, are those looking for booster doses. But we want to call upon, because we have a big majority of people who never received their second doses. So this should be encouraged to come.
Although the number of COVID-19 positive cases is not alarming, information from the Ministry of Health shows that the country is still registering some cases.
currently in the country, we have not yet detected the new variant, but because the disease is still circulating, we are still seeing between 70 and 75 people positive for COVID in every 2 weeks for the last 3 months. So that means this gives a fertile room for the variants also to circulate. And we know that people are still going to all these countries, China, Japan, and the US, and they're likely to come back with these different variants.
One of the country's principal epidemiologists and also Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Monica Musenero, has now advised the population to embrace COVID-19 vaccination.
The threat is real in the world. China has just opened up. They didn't open up because the COVID went down. They opened up, I think, because of other issues in the ecosystem in their country. And the Chinese people start traveling, and they have been having this challenge. We know that in the US, they have very unique variants now. The Omicron, the newest variant of Omicron, which has come, and the recent report is that it has reached South Africa. Now, if Ugandans remember, many of these variants have reached us through South Africa because of the travel connections. This is nothing about South Africa, but because of the travel connections, and also because South Africa is very keen on looking after, to find this. So it has been reported, and that means that anytime we are going to have those variants. Now, we don't know what they will do in our population, and I've also been watching some of the data in Uganda. It shows that we are having some hints of cases showing up here and there. We still don't know what exact trend it will take, but we have some cases now beginning to show up in hospital. So I would advise Ugandans, if you're not vaccinated and you're above 18, go to your nearest facility and get your vaccine shot. If you got the first one, please go and get your second shot.
Uganda received about 48 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines, and only 28 million have been utilized.
We have a lot of Johnson & Johnson because it has a very long shelf life. We received as a government purchase, which had a very long shelf life. So,
Ministry of Health statistics show that only 53% of the eligible population is fully vaccinated. Adiana Kuti, UBC.
A handful of members of parliament representing fishing communities this week petitioned the Constitutional Court to compel Parliament to actualize the Fisheries and Aquaculture Bill of 2021. This follows its delayed endorsement from the head of state despite its reconsideration by Parliament in September 2022. Bale County Member of Parliament Charles Tebandeke and his Buvuma District Women counterpart Susan Mugabe want the bill declared ascertained too.
We took a lot of time. We were referred this bill to analyze it. And indeed, we did the best in the 45 days as per the rules of procedure. We analyzed the bill, we consulted different stakeholders, including government, and Parliament passed this bill. Even when President returned the bill, we worked by Speaker's guidance within 1 week and presented the bill as guided by her, and still Parliament passed the same bill. But we are surprised that up to now, it is coming to 5 months. President has failed to assent to this bill. Yet, the law is very clear. He must assent to the bill within 30 days after receiving the bill.
We want the court to declare that the Fisheries and the Aquaculture Bill, as passed on the 3rd of May 2022, after the first scrutiny by Parliament and a Committee on Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries, be declared law, and Speaker lays it on the floor as mandated by her powers or his powers in Article 91, Sub-Article 7, so that it becomes a law to regulate the fishing sector and every Ugandans to enjoy the sector wholly without divisionism, separation, discrimination, torture, and any would be kind of violation of rights for the survival seekers.
Police this week made arrests of leaders at Chilembe mines where locals were demonstrating against the Ministry of Health's directive to deactivate Chilembe mines hospital credit line for essential medicines and health supplies. Kasese leaders interacted with the Ministry of Health teams over the matter and are now calling upon locals to halt the demonstrations as solutions are in the offing.
Leaders from Kasese have interfaced with the Ministry of Health officials and as well written to the President regarding the demonstration of residents at Kirembe Mines Hospital. The demonstration was a result of a directive by the Ministry of Health instructing joint medical stores to deactivate Kirembe Mines Hospital code from the list of facilities that qualify for essential medicines and health supplies.
This is an invitation to the people of the mountains to die. Because they want to remove medicine from the people, you are saying they should die. These people who are using other facilities, the schools, where will they go? So we are saying that the fountain of honor of this country, the president, because now when this one comes from the permanent secretary, higher authority in the ministry, we are running to the president now for rescue.
We no longer experience death because of this hospital, but since it has gone, the population is going to decrease and the death rates, actually child mortality and pregnant mothers who have been having deliveries here, we are going to face death.
The demonstration attracted response from security agencies, which led to arrest of residents. The Kasese Municipality Mayor Sandra Kahunde and Bulembia Division Chairperson Bomera Richard.
This is the reason we are here. Whether there is police, we are not stopping, we are continuing until the journey is over, until we have received the health facility here.
Today, at the same time, myself, then the Honorable Member of Parliament from Songora South, Honorable Member of Parliament from Songora North.
Kasese Member of Parliament urges that the decision by the Ministry of Health was made hurriedly and need to be reconsidered to regain sanity.
The response we got was positive. The leaders took this decision without consulting, and some of this historical perspective of this hospital was not known to these leaders. Some of these leaders are new in the ministry, so there was a need for us to discuss and to harmonize. So we have hope that some action is going to be taken in favor of our people.
Kirembe Mines Hospital serves close to 6 sub-counties in Kasese District. Irene Faith Nantongo, Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
Well, good to know you're still a part of this newscast. Taking a short break. When I return, we take a look at business.
Sent to transport to the wrong person. Here's how to reverse it with MTN Mobile Money. Dial *165#. Select My Account. Select Initiate Reversal. You will see your last 3 transactions. Select the transaction you want to reverse. Enter your mobile money PIN and you'll get an SMS confirmation that the transaction has been blocked from being withdrawn. And that's it. Please note, only transactions that haven't been withdrawn can be reversed.
Oh, Susan, I want to propose to Rose. Yes, and this time I am serious.
Have you guys had sex?
Duh, of course.
And have you had sex without using condoms?
Hey, Nga, you're curious.
I'm more concerned. Are you having sex with other people?
Hey, hello, is this an interview or what?
No, just things you should think about. Do you know Rose's HIV status?
Okay, this is serious. Should I be worried?
It is actually serious. Do you know your HIV status?
I think I am safe. Many times we get into situations that put us at risk of HIV. However, the first step to ending HIV is getting tested and knowing your results.
It's Time Up HIV. Call 0800-211-046 or text 8080 toll-free for more information about how to prevent HIV.
This message is brought to you by Ministry of Health with support from USAID.
The festive season is here and it's Christmas in 4G from Airtel. Get the most affordable 4G smartphone in Uganda, now heavily discounted from 250,000 shillings to 150,000 shillings only. Yes! 150,000 shillings only to keep you connected to your loved ones this holiday season.
Dial *175*94# to activate free 1 GB instantly and 100% double data on all weekly and monthly bundles for 3 months. Get one today while stock lasts from the nearest Airtel shop. Happy holidays this festive season with Airtel, the smartphone network.
Tosoka nompa hemanga tona dinda genyonta esuse kodia abasoga myuse nenkalama teri wane nyola jonyambe umpe okuhema cause I love you hema everybody know oh hema maziganga gampomela
*11. Keeping an eye on all your balance the old way.
I got this. yeah. Balance is. yeah.
What is he up to now?
*11.
Keeping an eye on all your balance with the My Airtel app. You have the power in your pocket. The power to see all your balance in one place and in real time. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
I miss you.
Welcome back. Good to know that you're keeping it to UBC. Now, more into our weekly news roundup updates. The Constitutional Court this week declared part of the Computer Misuse Act 2011 null and void. The justices anonymously agreed to quash the law, saying it was contrary to Section 29A(1) of the Constitution and the International Covenant on Freedom of Expression, which guarantees a freedom of expression.
A 5-judge bench of the Constitutional Court, led by Deputy Chief Justice Richard Buteera, has unanimously quashed Section number 25 of the Computer Misuse Act 2011, saying it's unconstitutional. They pointed that the section does not specify how a person's rights are violated, nor does it specify how and at what time the person is violated with his freedom, privacy and peace. The judges also added that, in accordance with Article 29, subsection A1 of the Constitution and the International Covenant on Human Rights and Freedom of Speech, the Act violates freedom of expression.
I'm very happy the Constitutional Court unanimously, every member of that bench said it was unconstitutional, it was illegal, and it was ambiguous, and it had to go because it is an affront to freedom of expression as enshrined in our Constitution in Section 29 of the Constitution.
Court suspended all prosecutions under this section and ordered the government to compensate the plaintiffs.
All cases based on this offense have to collapse because the Constitutional Court is very clear saying stop enforcing it. So no one has a authority to enforce it. Not the police, not the courts. They have to stop.
Lawyer Irokiza commented on the recent amendments made in line with the Computer Misuse Act of 2022, which he said violated the rights of Ugandans.
The purpose was also ominous. The government saw that it was this law, which is bad, which has been declared now, was inadequate to oppressors who use computers. They decided to tighten the belts, the nuts even more, hence the Computer Misuse Amendment Act of 2022.
Deborah Namamonde compiled this report.
The Governing Council of National Organization of Trade Unions this week suspended Asha Wilson Oweri to give way for disciplinary procedure regarding his conduct towards the union. Wilson Oweri is accused of mismanagement, a misrepresentation of the union and failure to adhere to the rules of the Governing Council.
National Organization of Trade Unions offices have been closed for over 3 months due to failure by members to agree on the leadership of the union after the ouster of the Chairman General Notu, Asha Wilson Oweri. Moses Okello has now been chosen as the acting Chairman General Notu as Asha Wilson Oweri is investigated.
He was found to be incompetent and he has mismanaged the organizational affairs and misrepresented. If you look at the recent press releases, those are releases which were not authorized by any Notu organ. And we feel it is an embarrassment to this organization.
This follows failure by Asha Oweri to appear before the Governing Council to explain himself on what he is being accused of.
So the committee is going to look into these issues. If he's found innocent, well and good, he will be called back. But for now, we are saying, Brother Musa Okello, who has been the first vice chairman, is going to take the lead as the chairman general of National Organization of Trade Union. And I would like to tell public that any issue statement issued by Brother Oweri for now does not concern us as not.
Workers' Member of Parliament Alnaitwe Rakajara says they have made consultations and agreed on the terms and rules of engagement.
And the new leadership is in place. Therefore, the ministry is aware of the discussion and the whole results. So I don't think what had stopped is because we had disagreed. Why we have opened is that we have all agreed, as simple as that.
It is alleged that Asha Wilson Oweri froze the accounts of the union, making it hard to operate.
About the accounts, the procedure is that when you finish an election or any decision, it has to be registered with the Ministry of Labor. But the most important thing is that whatever we have done, we have been in consultation with the Ministry of Labor. And we feel there's nothing which is going to stop the registration of new leadership.
Former Sports Minister, also a Workers' Member of Parliament, Charles Bakabulindi assured the public that they have fulfilled all the procedures of representing the people they serve.
Even though somebody has missed, we have got different measures we take rather than imprisoning somebody. And it has taken some time with these wrangles going on, but we have been having series of meetings of saying we call ourselves sisters and brothers, and tomorrow we are going to work together. So why don't we use the gentleman's approach?
The new Notu leadership includes Musa Okello, Chairman General, Richard Bijirwa, Acting Secretary General, Moses Mawuk, Treasurer, and Barbara Badaru, Deputy Treasurer. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
It's super fast internet. Oh, it's a super camera. It's a super battery.
Phone battery full.
Yeah, it's a super deal. Get the Kabote Super from MTN now at a reduced initial deposit of only 49,000 shillings and pay the balance in Pola for as low as 833 shillings per day. Grab this Super Kabote deal this Christmas and get 2 GB of free MTN data every month for 8 months. Get the Kabote Super now from any MTN shop countrywide. Everywhere you go, MTN. Regulated by UCC.
It is the weekly news roundup. Now to sports updates. The Uganda Cranes this weekend kicked off their 2022 African Nations Championship campaign with a goalless draw against two-time champions and neighbors, the Democratic Republic of Congo. In a blessed but competitive match, both teams went head-to-head in search for goals, with Uganda creating more opportunities in the first half and DRC in the second half. This match was played at the 19th May and 1956 Stadium in Annaba, Algeria. year. Uganda will face Senegal and Ivory Coast next on the 18th and 22nd of January 2022, respectively. UBC TV it is. Thank you so much for watching and following the weekly news roundup that came your way this 15th day of January 2022. Warm wishes for you to enjoy your Sunday afternoon and of course a fruitful week ahead of you that you'll definitely achieve. And of course, greetings from the team behind the scene. My name is Sandra Kahunde. It's been a pleasure spending time with you.